Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. No, I did not just come from the gym, although several hours ago I was at the gym. It is time though for a 1 o'clock in the morning rant. So chalk this up to Sean can't sleep, so he's here talking to you guys about the insane prices being paid for vintage video games at present time in April 2021. Now what we're going to talk about today is, of course, what transpired on Heritage Auctions video game auction. They had an auction devoted to a lot of video games, collectible card games, and the like. I do want to spend some time talking about this because a copy of Super Mario Brothers in WATA Games 9.6 condition recently sold for $660,000. Now, this is what makes this auction so spectacular. It was not the coveted first edition sticker sealed copy that was graded by WATA originally in 9.4 condition. This 9.6 condition was a later production version that literally sold for $660,000. Now, if you recall, I've covered a lot of these sales on this channel before. I did one on the tremendous amount that was paid back then for the sticker-sealed Super Mario Brothers game that sold for over $100,000 when it first premiered on Heritage Auctions. That was graded by WATA 9.4. I also, if you guys recall, covered the infamous Nintendo PlayStation prototype system that some of you guys wanted to argue with me was going to reach over $1 million or more at auction. That particular item sold less than $400,000. Now, this is key, guys, because what we're seeing here is very interesting. You know, I spend a lot of time analyzing markets in the antiques and collectibles trade. As a matter of fact, I probably spend, I'm just going to say it, close to 20 hours a week doing nothing but market analyzation on past auction prices, current auction prices, seeing what a lot of these markets are doing and where they're going short-term and long-term. And the one thing that really troubles me right now, and I'm just going to state this across the board, pop culture collectibles are selling for insane prices. In my opinion, if you have this stuff and you're willing to let go of it, right now is a great time to sell any type of toy, video game, collectible card game, comic book, whatever you have. If it's pop culture related and you are thinking of sending it or dumping it on the market, right now, in all honesty, you're going to get top dollar for those particular items, depending on what they are, how much demand there is in the marketplace, whether they're third-party graded or not. But you would not be making a mistake to sell into this market at present time. Now, there's always going to be those coveted items that continue to go higher and higher because they're considered blue chip, which I hate that word, but we're going to use it, blue chip, top tier, top 1% collectibles in any collecting category. If we look at coins, we look at high-end art, we look at antiques, we look at even stamps. All those markets have items that are in the top 1% of the trade. We can look at comic books, we can look at video games, obviously. We can look at Magic the Gathering, we can look at Pokemon. Of course, all of those particular collecting categories have top tier or holy grail items that sell for a significant sum at every auction. Let's not ignore that. That is important to talk about. But most people out there are not going after the top tier items. They are going after stupid stuff, and I'm going to give you some prime examples in this video. A Bonk's Adventure in WATA Games 9.8 condition for the TurboGrafx 16 recently sold through Heritage for $11,400. Now, are we really at a point where factory sealed TurboGrafx 16 games, especially common games like Bonk or even Splatterhouse or Blazing Lasers, whatever game it is, should that game really be selling for more than 5 figures at auction at present time simply because it's graded and encased in plastic? This is something that you guys got to ask yourself. I'm not collecting these games. I'm not trying to build a position in factory sealed graded video games at present time. I think the market is too insane. It is out of whack. I'm going to show you some examples as to what I mean. I'm just here talking about Bonk right now. We're going to move over to certain PlayStation games. Believe it or not, guys, in this same auction, a copy of Tomb Raider, a black labeled copy of Tomb Raider For the original Sony PlayStation, and Tomb Raider came out, what? Refresh my memory. 1996, 1997, made by Eidos Interactive in 8.0 condition. It's not even near mint condition or better. This is factory sealed, graded 8.0. It is a black label copy. It sold for $26,400. Meanwhile, a black label copy of Final Fantasy VII, released for the Sony PlayStation, sold for $7,800 in WATA Games 9.6 condition. Now, do those market dynamics sound sensible to you guys? In my opinion, Final Fantasy VII is much more iconic than Tomb Raider. Now, I know you guys are going to argue with that. Well, Sean, you remember the movie? Everybody wanted to own Tomb Raider back in the day. Does that really make an 8.0 black label version worth $26,400 at present time in the year 2021? I'm sure a lot of these are going to come out of the woodwork, and the census is going to fill up. Unfortunately, WATA Games at present time doesn't provide public access to a census to list the population reports of items they are grading. Hint, hint, WATA, that is transparency for the overall market. If you do want to bring transparency to the market like you claim, you need to have public access to what you are grading. I've used this example before. I am a very prolific collector and investor in rare coins. If NGC or PCGS would tell me tomorrow that, hey, you know what? We don't like the fact that everybody can view our population reports to the coins that we grade. We're going to remove that information from the public's eye, and we're going to keep it locked up as a secret. I and other dealers, collectors, speculators, and investors would have a mass problem with that. WATA Games needs to start releasing population info on a lot of these items that they're grading. People are still paying, at present time, almost $1,000 for a factory-sealed copy of Spider-Man for the Atari 2600 in 9.8 condition. I was one of the first YouTubers that told you guys not to invest in that particular game. There are too many copies out there on the market at present time. I also, in a later video, told you one of the online retailers that had a massive stock of that game at one particular time. And I even pointed to market manipulation because I was one of the people that was involved in a quote-unquote shadowy investment group that was going after that game, and they were sending it to WATA, getting it graded, and flipping it on the secondary market on sites like eBay, on Heritage Auctions, Certified Link, a lot of these other markets, because we knew how many quantities of that particular game were out there. When a grading company does not offer transparency in the form of updated and regular population reports, they are protecting market manipulators. Instead of coming on my channel, video game collectors, who see a market for this long term, and attacking me, you need to have greater transparency for what you are putting your hard-earned money into. Again, just using this example, if we talk about PlayStation, I don't doubt that the Sony PlayStation was an iconic system. It was, I agree with you. But do you really think a factory-sealed black label copy of Tomb Raider should be worth $26,400 in WATA Games 8.0 condition when a 9.6 black label factory-sealed copy of Final Fantasy VII only sold for $7,800? Now, I know some of you are going to attack me and go, Sean, supply and demand. At present time, this market is too new to even assess supply and demand. And furthermore, we can't accurately assess supply and demand because WATA Games has not made public their population reports yet. Do you understand? When you are investing in this market, and you are coming on my channel arguing with me that this is a valid collecting market at present time, you are doing so blindly because you don't have all the information privy to you that somebody who is investing in comic books, somebody who is investing in graded coins, somebody who is investing in graded currency has at present time, because population reports are key to analyzing the market dynamics. Whether that market is 1 year old, 2 years old, 20 years old, 40 years old, however old that market is, when we're talking about third-party graded collectibles, population reports are key, people. Know that if you are investing in a market without all the information that you could have made available to you, there is most likely market manipulation going on behind the scenes. And I know what you guys are going to say. Well, Sean, you're not attacking VGA or AFA. Some of their particular population reports are flawed or non-existent. I get it. I'm attacking any third-party grading company that is encapsulating an item that is selling on the secondary market at present time without revealing the true numbers that they are grading and or encapsulating at present time. This should be public information. You as a collector out there have a right to this information. And if you really think that this is a market that you want to invest in short-term or long-term, you should be petitioning that grading company and saying, hey, we have a right to get at this information. It should be made public so that the market can have overall transparency. It is key. I'm not going to rant on that anymore. I did a whole video on this. But you guys are looking at some of these prices. You're coming to me and saying, hey, Sean, this market's on fire. Look at this. You're wrong. 2 years ago, you said that we shouldn't invest in these items. Dude, do you have a lifespan of a hamster? It's only been 2 years. I don't know about you. I anticipate living well into my 70s. I don't anticipate dying in the next 24 months. Some of you guys are not understanding how these markets work and evolve in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. How they start off speculative, then they gain traction, then they possibly transfer to an established market. Then from an established market, they sometimes lose steam or they gain steam. Then they transition to a sophisticated and or market in the trade. Along that roadmap to get to where they are considered cherished antiques, high-value coveted items like rare coins, high-end pieces of art, certain vintage artifacts. Guess what, guys? A lot of things can go wrong along the way. And that's kind of what I try to instill in you guys when I do videos like I did, where I show you the pros and cons of investing in antiques versus collectibles, versus the stock market, versus real estate, versus Bitcoin, versus gold, versus silver, whatever asset we're talking about. There are inherent risks, both over the short term and over the long term. A lot of you guys are arguing with me that this is going to be everybody. Little Timmy, born in the year 2021, is going to grow up and collect factory sealed Nintendo games for a system that he wasn't even privy to because it came out 40 years before his birth. I'm sorry, I don't see it, guys. Right now, you can make an argument that yes, comic books, vintage comic books are still being sought after. They're still being collected. But even that market is most likely going to suffer a correction. The prices that we are seeing at present time for most items, not all of them, are not sustainable long term. I had a guy come into the comment section who argued with me till he was blue in the face that an Incredible Hulk 181 in CGC 9.4 condition is undervalued at its current selling price of over $21,000. I'm sorry, literally 4 or 5 months ago, you go back to the end of the year 2020, you could have bought that same book for $10,000. And back then, that was a record price being paid for that book. So how can you argue when the supply didn't change at all, that literally 4 months later, that particular book is now undervalued when it's selling for more than double the price it was selling for literally 4 months ago? It does not make sense. Some of you guys are really fooling yourself as to what's happening in these markets. Now, to be fair, I want to respond to my critics on something here. Let's say that you want to go after a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles first print comic book in CGC 9.4, 9.6 condition. Yes, that's a scarce book. I don't see a market correction hitting a book like that like it's going to hit Incredible Hulk 181 or Giant Size X-Men 1 in CGC 9.4. Right now, a lot of your Bronze Age keys, a lot of your Copper Age keys, a lot of your modern era comic books are insanely overpriced when you look at where they were just literally 365 days ago. It is insane. A lot of you guys really need to take some time. If you don't like me, you don't want to read the articles that I write for Antiques and Auction News, you don't even want to watch this channel, I get it. That's fine. But do yourself a favor, because I genuinely care about your financial future. Please read articles by Harry Rinker. Read articles by Wayne Jordan. Get yourself educated. You can go to an antique mart and they will literally, if you go to any type of mid-tier or upper-tier antique fair, they will give out free publications. And in those publications, there are articles written by people like myself, people like Wayne Jordan, people like Harry Rinker, that will provide a springboard for you guys to start learning how these markets work, evolve, and move over time. Now, to be fair, some of these items, yes, they're going to go even higher. When we look at the market for Pokemon, when we look at the market for Magic the Gathering, when we look at the market for some factory sealed video games, there is still room for growth in some of these markets and categories. But picking what is going to be the next winning item and then making a decision to sell that particular item at that present time are two different, distinct things and opportunities. Most collectors, when they own something that they paid $500 for, if it goes to $3,000 and I tell them to dump it on the market, sell it, get rid of it, take their profit, they tell me to go get fucked. I'm going to be very honest. They don't want to sell it because in their mind, they go, what if it goes to $5,000? What if it goes to $7,000? Guys, I got to where I'm at because when I had something that I paid $100 for and it went to $5,000, guess what? I sent that thing to auction and I didn't look back. Some of you guys are making a major mistake over the long-term validity of a lot of these particular markets and how they are going to evolve over time. I am telling you, if you have any of this stuff and you do have an inkling to sell it, now is the time to go through your collection and let some of it go. You don't have to sell it all. I am a collector myself. I'm not telling you to sell it all. But if you see a couple of pieces that you have that you're really not emotionally attached to, that you paid X number of dollars for, and now they're selling for triple or quadruple the price, by all means, take the profit off the table, guys. Do not be the type of person that's reaching out to me who owns 30 factory sealed copies of Super Mario 3D All-Stars simply because it's no longer in production after March 31st. Do you have any idea how many copies of Super Mario 3D All-Stars were produced just in North America alone? Statistics and estimates put the production run of this game at close to 10 million copies. Yes, there's going to be idiots that are willing to pay a premium for this as soon as the distribution channels dry up. What I mean by that is right now, if you log on to Target, if you go on eBay, if you go on Best Buy, you can probably get a copy of this game still for $59.99. Well, eventually it is going to sell out because we all know that speculators are going to run and go and get it because they know it's being discontinued. And most likely, it will probably be seen selling for possibly $80 or more sometime over the next, 12, 18, possibly 24 months. But you also know that Nintendo is probably going to release this game again in physical format under the Nintendo Selects line. So if you are a Timmy, a Kimmy, a Poindexter out there who wants to own a copy of this game, you don't have it, and you're okay owning a Nintendo Selects version, guess what? Just wait a few years, and most likely, much like Nintendo did with the original Super Mario All-Stars, that was also a limited edition when it came out first on the Nintendo Wii. They later re-released it under the Nintendo Selects line for the Nintendo Wii, if you guys recall. So just wait a little bit, and you'll most likely be able to get this at retail price again. All is what I'm saying is please, if you are doing any buying in these markets right now, whether you're in the market for vintage video games, comic books, collectible card games, or toys, please use extreme caution. I have more videos like this that are going to be coming on this channel where we go in depth and we analyze these markets, and I show you how to analyze these markets from a short-term time horizon to a long-term time horizon if that's what you want to do. There are key fundamentals that a lot of you are missing, that are not being properly talked about on a lot of the hype-driven channels out there. So that's the end of the lesson today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I expect to get criticized because of the rants that were contained in this video, but please feel free to let me know how you feel about this in the comment section below. Thank you, and have a great night.